It's the governor. What's going on, y'all? I'm here today to bring you your final lesson with the food for thought for 3/21/21. It's big wheels versus little wheels. Theme again is there is no impossible obstacles. There are only stronger and weaker wills. And in this episode, we're really going to get into what it's really come down to. And again, you're going to see Thursday me going this final leg of this Drive for the Life journey, 3,000 miles in 7 days. And it really has to do with this aspect right here, which is the legendary status. What does it mean to be a legend, a star? What is that? And how does it apply to will and willpower? And first off, there has to be a belief in something called the game. We call it the game of life just as a general term. But whatever it is whatever your calling is, you recognize it as the game. And when you dedicate yourself to it, whatever it may be, and its ultimate manifestations as it pans out and develops, because the game of life is the most advanced, complicated, but unique, interactive game ever created. It's the best thing smoking. And so to reach those Hall of Fame status where, when you used to go to the arcade or when you go to the video game and they got who the best players are, how to get your name up there in the game of life and whatever it is that you're doing. It starts again at home with the clan. And in this embarkment, I'm going to be taking my sons to my place of origin, where I grew up, show them where I grew up, show them the people that influenced my life, take them to where my mother is from. Then we'll journey to South Carolina, where my father is from, and then we'll be making our trip to our house, where we'll be getting our things and heading out to Colorado, where we'll be making a name for ourselves out here. So all of these things are applicable to real life and what you're going to see me do this week. And so in little wills versus big wills, we think about self-correction, but we also think about the longevity of the game. And when you're playing the game for legendary status, that means you're playing the game to make a name for yourself after you're done playing. Like, after you're done playing, people still talk about you. Where you're from, people still talk about what you used to do. People still, you're a legend for the things that you did. Whatever it is that in that niche of community that you're from. And so, again, you're going to see this in my journey coming up. But when you look at it from that point, that's when we get into what is a star. When you go outside at night and you look up at those bright lights and those lights that for, the beginning of man's navigational aspirations were his guidestones. What are those things? I'm going to let you in on a secret. They're light from objects that may not even exist anymore. Put that into perspective. That stars are light that we are guided by that don't exist anymore. So what you're looking to do when you're in a legendary status, when you're looking to make moves to become a king, you're looking to exist in a manner outside of how your physical presence upon the earth. You're looking to make a statement that goes outside your time in the game. And so when you have those type of aspirations and you're trying to move in that way, you have to move a little different. And that's where big wills and little wills come into play, because to make it to that standard, to make it to that level, there's self-correction there. Why? Because you're trying to make it to the highest rounds of the game. And as you travel, if you hike up a mountain, the higher you go, the more narrow the path is. And that is it, just how it is in the game. The higher you go, the more attention that's on you, the less that you could deviate from a path of behavior. Because if you deviate, you can easily fall off, and as they say nowadays, you could get canceled. So the path to greatness is a path where you have to have the will to overcome your own emotions. You have to be able to swallow your certain personal things that you may want to do for the sense of self, for the sense of what people may call the brand. The brand and the movement is bigger than the person, and so for the movement to move forward, the person has to govern themselves in a certain way, because they can't have any negative attention. That comes with greatness. If all the eyes are on you, then you got to govern yourself accordingly. If you don't want it, then you don't want greatness. You don't want attention. That there's a good and a bad that comes with it. And as we've learned in Thinking with the Big Head, you got to take the good with the bad. Or you got to take the bad with the good, excuse me. But it goes both ways. And so in the sense of big will versus little will, when it comes to coaching is a hard pill to swallow, because it goes against the natural self. It makes you become obedient to things that you don't want to naturally do, that you don't believe in yourself because they're not your way of doing things. All of those things you have to begin to accept if you want to get to that next level. I was in church today at the meeting house, and the young lady talked about it in her talk at the end. She said that the natural man is something that, the Lord frowns upon the natural man. Like, at some point in time, you have to make an effort to learn to be better, and the way that comes is from correction from the outside, and that humility, and not only receiving the correction but then applying the correction in that whole process. Because believe it or not, getting the correction and then applying the correction, as hard as it seems, if you do that, then that is this part of the cornerstone staple of your greatness. Like, it becomes that adversity where others fail, you didn't give up. You kept on going. You had, instead of the eager beaver overachiever mindset, or what I learned in this book, the Brida, you don't have necessarily the builder mindset, which is that overachiever, eager beaver, but instead you have the planter mindset, which is the little engine that could mindset, where you're playing the game again for the long haul. And that's why it's really important to be mindful when you think it with the big head and you're playing the game and you're looking for your partners and you're dealing with all of that, because when the adversity comes, you want to have the teammates that can help you if you're looking to achieve that level of greatness. I'll give you an example. Look at what happened to the great one, Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace. And how police officers exposed his pictures and the pictures of others that were in the helicopter at that crashed. Who fought the fight against the police? His wife. To secure the legend. I mean, when you look at how he stood for something, when people tried to speak bad upon his name when he died, you seen people come out and say, yo. Don't do that. That's because of the way he governed himself, like not only as a basketball player, but as what? A family man. It's funny that you hear these dudes running around talking about kings, but don't. Come on. Like, that's when you get into the self-correction, like the correction of self, because there's a lot that comes with that ego of being good in the game, but just because you're good and you have this talent doesn't make you everything. And it's being able to develop that other self, and that other self has to have correction, and there has to be humility, and there has to be this humbleness that recognizes that, yo, though that I am talented, though that I have this will to want to win, I get all of this attention, I am not perfect. I am flawed. I can be worked upon, and other people can help me. I can be helped. Like, all of these things that may sound simple are really hard to deal with, again, when you feel like you're favored and you're blessed with this ability. And so even when it comes to life, we gotta humble ourselves if we really want to make it to that next level for our families. We have to learn to sacrifice, us all. And again, I speak from the same struggles. I had to make choices, but again, in this whole aspect of it, in big wills versus little wills, is understanding that there is room for improvement, and I have to act upon that. And that it starts with me, and I can't quit. I just have to figure out a way, and I have to be persistent, and I have to just continue on and have that planter seed mentality of, if I continue to work and put these seeds in the ground, fruition will come, because this is life. But I have to tend to my creation. I have to tend to the game and treat my creation with the respect that it deserves if I want to have blessing in this life and to the life to come to the next. That's the game. It's those that dedicate themselves, stay persistent, heed the correction, and overcome the adversities with this mindset that they stick to. And it becomes identifiable with them. The name and it all. And so when you're playing the game for the long run, you have these obstacles, we have these battles, we have these tests that come, because that's what defines the character. That's the game. The tests are the game. So if you try to run away from them, then you're running away from success from the game. It's those, again, that welcome those tests, especially when you choose the direction that you want to go in, and you go in that direction, and you study those that come from before you. You recognize what is to come, and you govern yourself accordingly. And is it hard? Yes, that's what's the whole point. If it's not hard, there's something that you're not doing right. If it's not work, there's something that you're not doing right. And again, it's welcoming the time when you can show and prove who you are and what it is that you're made out of. That, again, defines why you should be chosen, what your name is all about, who you're all about. And if you ever ask, they're just going to say, well, this is who he was. Or they'll say, man, this guy, he was this. This player was that. And so we're talking about greatness and the will to overcome, because where there's a will, there's a way. Persistence overcomes resistance, and teamwork makes the dream work. So it's just about finding that recipe and understanding that if you play your role, you do what it is that you are meant to do, that as a star, if you're the legend that you was, then your light will continue to shine bright. Because that's what a star is. Light that shines bright after it's gone in the physical realm. And with that, power up.